Muy buenos días. Entonces esta es la continuación de la lectura de Nikola Tesla. I had made the preceding statement at the peril of treading upon metaphysical ground in my desire to introduce the subjects of this lecture in a manner not altogether uninteresting. I may hope to an audience such as I had the honor to address. But now, then, returning to the subject, this divine organ or sign, the eyes, this indispensable instrument for thou an all intellectual enjoyment, which lay open to us the marvel of this universe, through which we had acquired what knowledge we possess, and which prompt us to and control all our physical and mental activity. By what is affected? By light. What is light? We had witnessed the great stride which had been made in all departments of science in recent years. So great had been the advance that we cannot refrain from asking ourselves, is this all true, and it is but a dream? Centuries ago, men had lived, had so discovered, invented, and had believed that they were soaring while they were merely processing at a snail pace. So we too may be mistaken, but thinking the truth of the observed event is one of the implied facts of science. We must rejoice in the immense progress already made, and still more in the anticipation of what must come, judging from the possibilities opened up by modern research. There is, however, an advance which we have been witness, which must be particularly gratifying. For every lover of progress, it is now discovery of an invention or an achievement in any particular direction. It is an advance in all directions and scientific through an experiment. I mean the generalization of the natural forces and phenomena, the looming up of a certain broad idea on the scientific horizon. It is the idea which has, however, long ago taken possession of the most advanced mind, to which I desire to call your attention and which I intend to illustrate in a general way. In this experiment, at the first step, I answer the question, what is light? And to realize the modern meaning of this word is beyond the scope of my lecture to dwell upon the subject of light in general, my object being merely to bring presently to your notice a certain class of light effects and a number of phenomena observed in pursue the study of these effects. But to consistent in my remark, it is necessary to state that according to the idea now accepted by the majority of scientific men as a positive result of theoretical and experimental investigation, the various forms of manifestation of energy, which were generally designated as electric or more precisely electromagnetic, are energy manifestation of the same nature of those as radiant heat and light. Therefore, the phenomena of light and heat and other besides this may be called electrical phenomena. Thus, electrical science has become the modern science of all, and its study has become all important. The day when we shall show exactly what electricity is will chronicle an event probably greater, more important than any other recorded in the history of the human race. The time will come when the comfort of the very existence perhaps of man will depend upon the wonderful agent for our existence. And comfort will require that light and mechanical power. How do we now get all these? We get them from fuel. We get them by consuming material. What will man do when these forests disappear? When the coal fields are exhausted? Only one thing, according to our present knowledge, will remain, that it is to transmit power a great distance. Men will go to the waterfall or the tides when are the source of an infinitesimal part of the natural, immeasurable energy. There will be they harness the energy and transmit the same to their settlement, to warm their home, by to give them light and to keep their obedient, slave the machinery toiling, but how will they transmit the energy if not by electricity? Yours then is the comfort, nay the very existence of men will not depend on electricity. I am aware that this view is not that a practical engineer, but neither it is that an illusionist, for it is certain that power transmission, which at present is merely a stimulus to enterprise, will someday be a dire necessity. It's more important for the student who take up the study of life phenomena to make himself thoroughly acquainted with certain modern view than to peruse the entire book of the subject of life itself and disconnected from this view. Were I therefore to make this demonstration before students seeking information, and for the sake of the few of those who may be present, give me leave to assume it will be my principal endeavor to express this view upon their mind in the series of experiments. It might be sufficient for this purpose to perform a simple and well-known experiment. I might take a familiar appliance, a Leyden jar, charge it from a frictional machine, and then discharge in it. In explaining to you its permanent state when charged and its transitory condition when discharging, calling your attention to the forces which enter into the play and to the various phenomena they produce, and pointing out the relation of the force and phenomena, I might fully associate an illustration that modern idea. No doubt to the thinker that simple experiment will appeal as much as most magnificent display. But it is to be an experimental demonstration, and one which should possess, besides instructive, also entertaining features and as such a simple experiment, such as the one cited, will not go very far toward the attainment of the lecture's aim. It must therefore choose another way of illustration more spectacular certainly, but perhaps also more instructive instead of the frictional machine and Leyden jar. I shall avail myself in this experiment on the induction coil of peculiar properties, which was described in detail by me in the lecture before the London Institute of Electrical Engineers in February 1892. This induction coil is capable of generating current at enormous potential difference, alternating with extreme rapidity. With this apparatus, I shall endeavor to show you three distinct classes of effect, of phenomena, and it's my desire that each experiment, while serving for the purpose of illustration, should at the same time teach us some novel truths, or show us some novel aspect of the fascinating science. But before doing this, it seems proper and useful to dwell upon the apparatus employed and method of obtaining the high potential and high frequency currents which are made of use us in this experiment, on the apparatus and methods of conversion. These high frequency currents are obtained in peculiar manners. This method employed was advanced by me about 2 years ago in an experimental lecture before the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. A number of ways as practiced in the laboratory of obtaining these currents either from continuous or low frequency. Alternating current is diagrammatically indicated in figure 165, which will be later described in detail the general. Este es lo que él dice. No sé si se puede ver, lo pueden poner espacio lo más que pueda, lo que lo puedan observar. ¿Okay? los quedamos.